Hello everyone, and welcome back to part 6 of Know Your City Services. I'm here with Russ Grayson, our Chief Operations Officer, and we're going to talk about and highlight our Community Economic Development Department. See, Russ, as you know, Bend is a growing city. Do you care to tell us a little bit about this department?
Hey Zavi, it's great to be here and thank you for having me on. And the Community and Economic Development is a pretty big department within the city. It encompasses the building department, the planning department, private development engineering, growth management, code enforcement, licensing, development services, and now economic development. And their main task is to work on how do we want to grow as a city, both from the planning exercises of what do we want the city to look like, how do we want it to grow, the economic development initiatives for the city, and then the actual, through the permitting and processing of applications to see development occur through the city. The goal of that is to watch the city grow in a way that is consistent with our comprehensive plan, and kind of following the mantra of we want to grow smartly up and also out at the same time.
I love that. And will you go into a little bit more detail about growing up and growing out? And is community involved in that at all? And if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So we're in Oregon, and for those of people that don't know, Oregon has a very extensive land use system here that is really kind of wrapped around the concept of smart growth. It's protecting our resources, our natural resources, protecting our farmland. And so what the kind of guiding principles and goals of the Oregon land use system is to grow smartly within cities, which means to create not only dense cities, but also cities that are walkable, that have all the amenities that you're looking for, and we're not just in a constant sprawl. How do we use our infrastructure to the ultimate efficiency that we can, but also create a community that everybody wants to live in? You asked about the process that we go through to do that. It's not done in a vacuum. Right. It is done in a very comprehensive way with the community, with several stakeholder groups, and we're looking at our comprehensive plan and how we want to grow, where we want to grow. We do have rules and kind of guidelines that are set by the state, but there's a lot of kind of flexibility of, well, where do we want to see the density? Where do we want the commercial centers? Where do we want the industrial centers? Where do we want to see more density and more taller buildings?
So as Bend continues to grow, what does that look like? Because we have a projected population, we're continuing to grow. What does that look like for the city of Bend?
Yeah, great question, again, as always. So one of the things that we are required to do by the state is we are given a population forecast from the state. So in like 20 years.
So forecasting meaning like they project, like they're saying you're gonna grow by this much, you'll have this many folks by 20 whatever.
Yep, and then the job of the city is to figure out how are we gonna accommodate those people. And so the first thing we always look at is how can we accommodate them within the current city limits and the growth boundary that we have. And then we figure out, then we look at, can we grow up, can we densify, can we redevelop, and then how can we grow out? So there's all these kind of requirements and things that we look at. How does the transportation system work?
Right.
To really figure out, like, we don't have a choice if we're going to grow. So it's not an if, it's a how.
For sure.
And we can't close the gates to town. Right. We have to figure out a way to accommodate that growth.
Are there ways? What's the best way to stay informed and/or get involved, and just to know like what's going on as we continue to grow? If folks are interested.
A lot of people seem to get involved when they look outside their window, and all of a sudden they see, the big yellow machines show up.
It's too late by then, right?
It's too late, way too late by then. But there's several areas and timelines to get involved. If you really want to get involved with how the city's going to look and feel and grow and kind of what our growth strategies are, you want to do that when we look at our urban growth boundary, when we open the comprehensive plan, which is years before you are ever going to see a development happen in your backyard. When you're looking at properties around you and how they're developing, a couple key points are to stay informed with your neighborhood association, because they're really trying to keep tabs for you on everything that's going on around town. Also, that you should receive notices if you're within a certain distance of a development in the mail. So always be looking for those, and those are your times to comment. Developers also have to have neighborhood meetings about their projects. So you should be getting notices around that. But again, neighborhood associations are typically the best way to stay informed kind of with what's going on in your neighborhood.
That's awesome. I think that's great for folks to know that anyone and everybody can be involved with their neighborhood association in their area. And we have that on our website as well to stay up to date on any important information that folks are interested in. Yeah. Thank you, Russ, for that information. And again, for folks that want to be and stay involved, head over to our website. On our front page, we have a what's being planned, what's going on, and on that website and on those page and tabs, we will have all the information for any projects being built, in process, and being planned.
And so Zavi, always remember the first goal of the Oregon land use system is public involvement.
Public involvement. That means everyone in our community. We need and want your input. That way we can grow thoughtfully. You are part of this community. We need and want your input. So please continue to stay informed as we continue to grow together. Tune in next week as we highlight our fire and rescue team for part 7 of Know Your City Services.